People often talk about how eating healthy is so boring, sticking to a regimen is so boring. Let me tell you something. I'm a foodie, okay? I am a fit man, or should I say, yeah, I said it right the first time. I'm a fit man and a big person body. Or I said that backwards. I'm a big man in a fit person body. Oh my gosh, I cannot get my sayings right today. Anyways, what up, y'all? Marcus Frazier, Teachable Tuesdays, going to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. As always, if you could, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you stay up to date with all of my future Teachable Tuesdays content. And without further ado, this is going to be part 2 of like a little mini health series that I'm doing, where the last part I talked about your fitness. So if you missed that video, make sure you check that out. I pretty much went over why fitness does not have to be boring. In some ways, you can kind of like upgrade your fitness levels, if you will. And today we're going to talk about food, right? Because everybody loves food. Nobody likes boring food. And everybody automatically assumes that in order for you to eat healthy, you have to eat boring. No. And there's a couple of fundamental things that I want you to know about food that you may obviously already know, but just in case you don't, I'm going to go ahead and introduce these concepts to you. Number one, what you eat in the kitchen does matter. It does absolutely matter. There's an old saying that stands the test of time to this day, and it says that abs are made in the kitchen. While I've never had abs, I do believe that's very true. How your body looks and how your body feels is dictated on what you create in the kitchen or what you partake in the kitchen, right? And the reason being is because what you put in your body is going to ultimately represent what? It's going to represent what shows out. So obviously, if you're big back, like literally big back, it's really because of, more often than not, the choices in terms of foods that you eat, right? That plays a big part. A lot of people think, oh, you just big back because you don't work out. No, it's not just because you don't work out. It's because you are not eating the way that you should. You're not getting the right nutrition in your body. Not enough nutritious substances, if you will, right? Now, I'm not saying that, oh, you eat all healthy stuff in high quantities that you're going to stay, skinny or whatever either. No, because too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, right? No matter what. Like, for example, yes, I know fruits and vegetables are good for you, and you can most certainly eat a lot of those, but how you strategically plan out those meals, those side dishes, those snacks, all of that plays a huge part, right? And let's just go ahead and take away something from this right now just to make things abundantly clear. If you have yourself some ice cream once a week, that ain't going to kill your results. And in the words of one of my favorite content creators, Eric B. Fitness, as long as you are remaining under a calorie deficit, you are perfectly fine. But a lot of times the reason why we can't lose weight is simply because of this fact. We do not operate under a calorie deficit, and we do not take time to really pay attention to what we eat. Now, am I telling you that you should be micromanaging your calories? Absolutely not. I certainly don't. I'm not one of those type of individuals that micromanages their calories, but that is one way that you can lose weight if you want to lose weight, or gain weight if you want to gain weight. Some of y'all don't want to lose weight. Some of y'all want to gain weight because you might feel like you're too skinny. But anyways, back to the course at hand. When it comes to foods, right, it really does not have to be boring. A lot of it, in terms of the second part that I'm going to go into, is, adding some variety to flavors. Season your food, right? And I'm not saying over season it, obviously. Watch your sodium intake because that plays a big part, especially with high blood pressure and things of that sort of nature. But how you season your food really does make a difference. Some of y'all be out here just blending it out. And I admit, I used to be that guy. I don't want to add seasoning into my food because I got a history of high blood pressure and this and that in my family and so on and so forth. And the reality is you can do just enough to where it's not too much and make it interesting. Sometimes you can even add different seasonings to that same meal that you have, if you will, right? What I always recommend is when you're preparing your meals, and I'm not a meal prep guru or anything like that, but I know a little something. But when you're meal prepping your meals, my suggestion is maybe creating different sides, because a lot of people will be like, well, I can't have the same thing every day. It gets boring. I feel you. I get bored too. So have the same entree and switch up the sides. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you are eating, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something unique. Let's say you're having a steak, or not steak. What do you call them things? Steak bites. Steak strip sirloins. Steak strip sirloins. We're going to use that, right? That's an easy meal to prep. You ain't even got to cook it. Honestly, you can put that junk in the microwave. You can get that from Walmart. Has a good amount of quality of protein that you can get from that. And let's say, the first 2 nights you're having broccoli and rice. And you get to a point where you're like, you know what, man? I'm tired. I'm just having steak, sirloin tips, broccoli, and rice. I want to switch it up. Okay. Maybe have that for 2 or 3 nights. And then on the 4th or 5th night, you could have steak, sirloin tips, some cabbage, and a sweet potato or some yams. You know what I'm saying? It don't have to be boring. You can switch it up by switching up the sides. I always recommend having your entree at least for a week straight for lunch and or dinner. And then after that, maybe have a certain side for 2 or 3 nights, have a certain side for another 2 or 3 nights, right? Now, for me, it's a little bit different because I do, during the week, whenever I work, I do 2 protein shakes a day and a solid meal at night. So that has been my stilo for this year, if you will, thus far. And it'll probably stay that way for quite some time, just to kind of get myself into a new regiment for myself, if you will. But you don't necessarily have to go the route that I go on. You could take a totally different course if you should so desire. And I recommend that you take whatever course ultimately works for you. You also have to remember, a lot of times you see, fitness gurus and experts online saying this, that, and the third about certain things that they do with their, meal prepping. Your meal prepping might be a little bit different than everybody else's. Here's another thing that I recommend. If you're a person that doesn't really meal prep that often, try to start a few nights a week, right? If you're like, well, Marcus, I ain't never meal prep a day in my life. Like, that's cool. That's cool. That's perfectly fine. But start with hey, I'm going to do 1 night a week, or I'm going to do every other night. And eventually you'll get into the habit of doing it every day, right? Also, here's another tip in terms of, if you want more variety with your meals and you don't want your meals to be boring. Plan them out. Plan them out. And look up recipes online too. Let me tell you something. The thing that I love about social media, like TikTok, even though I'm not really a big TikTok person, Instagram, just looking online, even in Pinterest, is that you find so much variety with so many different things that, honestly, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. It's kind of hard to believe that cats be getting bored out here. And I say it's hard to believe because it's like, bruh, it's so many cool things. I was looking at a video, and it wasn't even like a video for a specific meal. It was just a video of some foods and meals in general. And what I noticed, right, was there was this woman who prepared these meals, and I think she was talking about how she got a nutritionist. And the interesting thing about it was she messed around and did what? She posted her breakfast, her lunch, her snack in between her lunch, and her dinner. And I thought it was so dope that she did that. And the reason why I say it was dope was because she literally, without even realizing it, and sorry, forgive me for the sun being in your face, she gave me a cool idea to meal prep when I get paid on, this week. So I'm like, you know what? When I get paid this week, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna try some of these joints out. Give me a second. Let me get my gallon of water. I'm heading to the gym. But yeah, I was like, okay, cool. So, I think this is a good idea to try this and that and the third. So you never know what ideas you'll get from being online. But a lot of times people are afraid for whatever reason to experiment. And I tell people this all the time. Experiment with your items. You know what I'm saying? Actually make sure that you're trying new things. It might come out the way that you exactly wanted it to be and more. And I'll be the first one to admit, sometimes people will do stuff online, post it, and it look good, and then you try it for yourself, and it's like, it ain't that good. Case in point, I see a lot of people do vegan pizzas online, and I'm gonna be real with you, most vegan cheese is trash. Most vegan cheese is absolutely garbage. Funny enough, I want to reach out to a skate friend of mine. She's a vegan, and I'm trying to get some ideas because, Super Bowl is coming up, and right now I'm doing 75 hard. So I'm not allowed to eat dairy or meat. So I'm trying to think of a decent vegan cheese because I want some, I want some pizza. But I got to do an alternative. You know what I'm saying? But again, if you don't want your meals to be boring, you got to be willing to also be experimental with that too and whatnot. And I'm going to give you one more. Another way that you can make it so your meals are not so boring is to just ultimately get in the kitchen and start trying. A lot of people that say their meals are boring, I can guarantee you 8 times out of 10, those are the individuals that don't really cook like that. And if you're not a great cook, that's perfectly fine. I'm not no 5-star chef, but I'll tell you one thing, if I just so happen to get married one day and have kids, my family will never go hungry. I know how to cook. I know how to experiment with things and try and see what works and what doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you gotta get in and try. Because when a lot of times people say that, I just be sitting here like, okay, is it really boring, or do you just not know how to get your meals together? And again, this is no knock on anybody that does not know how to cook, because again, not no 5-star chef. But if you don't try it, it won't happen. I know a lot of times we like to take the easy way out. We like processed foods. We even like healthy, convenient meals. And I will admit that there are times that healthy, convenient meals are a little bit better in the long run. I know for somebody like me, they are extremely convenient because I work 2 jobs throughout the week. So it's tough. But what I also want to let you guys know is that it's more cost efficient. And if you're trying to save money, like, look, I'm trying to build some things financially this year, okay? I've already told y'all from a couple videos ago. You gotta find a way to invest. And one of the best ways to invest is just buy ingredients separately. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let you go. I think I've said this on this channel before, but let's pretend you want to, we're gonna go with a feel-good food. We're gonna go with pizza, because everybody loves pizza, right? I can make more bang for my buck getting my own pizza than getting the pizza from Papa John's. And I love Papa John's. One of my favorite pizza restaurants, right? If I get a pizza from Papa John's, typically a large pizza, how much is that gonna cost? About $11, $12 if I pick it up on a good day. Delivery might be like $16, right? Do you know that pizza could last me longer for cheaper by just getting the separate ingredients? I could get some pizza dough from Publix. That's about $4. Get the mozzarella cheese. That's about another $4. And the pepperoni, so it'll equal, or turkey pepperoni. I don't eat pork. And it'll still equal to about the same price, but it'll last me longer because the piece is bigger. You kind of feel where I'm coming at from here? A lot of times we do things, it's our convenience. Or I'll give you another example. You get chicken wings from Papa John's. Them jumps like $16 for 8 pieces. And that jumps be small. Where I can get some, I can get some chicken wings from the store, and about 20 of them come in the bag for about $10, $11. You feel what I'm saying? So you gotta realize the quality and quantity of things. That like they to be honest with you, they kind of go hand in hand when you think about it. Nobody likes to think about it that way because again, we're a society that's built off of convenience, and it's like, nah, you gotta get in where you fit in. All right, so those are just my pieces of advice. Hopefully that helped. I know I went off on a tangent on some other things, but yeah, I just had to give my 2 cents. But Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Love you guys. Hope you have a great day. Take care. Talk to you soon.